Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final Dresden Files discussion here. Well, at least until the next book comes out. So hopefully we won't be waiting too long, 6 months, less than a year, hopefully. We'll see. But I want to go around and one last introduction to everybody, and we can start right here. Chaz.
All righty. Hey, everybody. I'm Chaz. My channel is Bookish Chaz. And I just recently finished the Dresden Files series for the first time. Well, caught up anyway. I'm all caught up. So, yeah, this is exciting.
Well, okay. Well, anyone that's already been here before and watched the previous ones know I'm the Warlock, Nathan, friend of Joe's. I speak nonsense and I sow discord. That's about it. JR.
My friend too, but less.
Very true, Joe.
Whoever wants to go next.
Don't
be shy.
Why not? I'm Sarah. Hi, everybody. I'm going to depend on Chaz for all the details because it's been a little bit longer since I read 16 and 17. So I remember the big things, but we'll make sure that Chaz knows all the little details since he just finished.
All right. And Joe, I know you were hard at work.
I wrote 8,000 words in the last 2 days. I've been grinding.
Nice.
I'm J.C. Byrne, author of Blissful Ascending and this other little stack. I've been welcomed here. It's been great to join because I feel spiritually connected to the Dresden Files. I always say I want to be the Jim Butcher of superheroes, which has so far not happened, but it's been my dream. So.
Hey, that is a terrific goal right there.
Yeah.
And I think you're well on your way. So
thank you. And you can find me at jcmburn.com. My YouTube channel is jcmburn. Very consistent. There's a theme.
Yeah.
The same everywhere. I know This is Dresden, but I do have to say my husband just finished your first book and he loved it. It might be the one thing that gets him to come on my channel and talk about something. So I'm going to read it now too so that I can try to convince him.
I've been on eggshells because you mentioned that you got it for him at like Christmas time, and I saw that video and I'm like, and you can't say anything. You can't be like, did he read it yet? Did he read it yet? Like poking, So I'm just like waiting. I watch your videos. I'm like, nope, okay, which is fine. I'm not mad. I'm just, but I'm really
he just finished it, so he really enjoyed it. He read it really quickly, actually.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it definitely keeps a good pace.
Yeah.
It's a happy and sad time at the same thing because I just happened to be looking back, and it's been just under a year that we've been doing these. So it's been the year of Dresden. But I thank all of you for coming on this journey, and either for the first time or reliving my favorite series of all time. So
big words.
Yeah. So Chaz, since you you for the first time just finished it a little while ago, what were your initial thoughts? Because you didn't have the big weight, you were just rolling right into them, or you didn't have any weight at all, right? Because everything was out. So what was your initial thought?
Oh man, I felt so empty after the end of it. I'm like, I need more. I need more Dresden. And I even I even did all the side stuff. Like I read the microfiction on his website. I read the Law, of course. There's a few short stories that are in some of the anthologies that I haven't read yet. But overall, I've read everything, and I'm like, no, I need more. I need more Dresden. So,
does that include the comics?
I have not done the comics yet. So, and that's one thing I'll have to figure out. I know there's some comics that are just comic versions of the books, and then there's other comics that are extra.
Yeah.
So I'll allow you guys to school me on that. But so far, I am completely and utterly sold. I think my soul has been sold to Harry Dresden, and
So
yeah, sorry.
For everybody that's already at the end here, welcome to hell. You have great company here. Now you must wait like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yes, on pins and needles and red hot coals.
Has there been any news? I don't really keep up with.
Yeah,
his
he announced that he sent his other book off already. The next book in the Codex, maybe.
No, the Cinder Spires.
Yeah,
Cinder Spire.
Yeah.
So that's sent
which
off.
is also excellent. The first book is excellent. So
yeah, and he's I think it says he's like 20% in 20% of the way done with the next Dresden book. He put on Twitter, which he rarely ever tweets. So when it popped up, I was like, what's going on? And he's like 18 weeks. He should be done with the Dresden Files.
Wow.
Something along those lines. So technically, he should be done by October. But who knows with editing and all that, how long we'll have to wait for it to come out. But that is something exciting to check his website every so often and be like, where are we at? Where are we at?
I have notifications set up for his website when he makes a new code.
You really did go all in.
Oh yeah. I have notifications set up. I'm guessing probably Q1 24 is when we'll get it, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, give me more.
October. It can't be much earlier than that.
Yeah.
If your first draft is done in October, it's got to be 2024, March, right? Because it's got to go through editing. It's got to get typeset. It can't. You don't put a first draft out and publish it. No one does. So
yeah, the one good thing about being Jim Butcher is and not well, and you know, Joe, like with we're and Chaz, we're all self-published. So a lot of times when we're doing stuff one at a time. It's like we're writing, then comes we pay for the artist, then we pay for the editing, and where his is all getting done all at the same time, so they can get books out a lot faster than we can.
Yeah, when he calls Chris McGrath for the next cover, he doesn't say I'll get to you later this year.
Yeah.
I know that because he tells me that because he's working on a Jim Butcher cover. So he'll tell me I'll get to it. It's going to be another couple months because I'm like doing the Dune special edition. I'm like, all right.
Sounds fair.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. I can see if Chris will give me any heads up on when the next cover is going to be ready. He won't tell. He won't tell. We're not tight like that. But
so as I've said so many times before, Sarah's journey might have been my favorite thing watching BookTube, maybe ever. And so go back through how you were reliving when you first went through Peace Talks and Battlegrounds.
Well, everybody in the stream has seen me cry
They haven't seen me cry yet. But
I cried a lot in that. It was interesting actually because you hear so much about changes, which is the joke. Everybody talks about it. So when I went into that book, I was expecting big emotional things to happen, but I feel like Battleground, the emotional things that happen are a relatively well kept secret. I expected the one thing that I was promised in Battleground was action. People said this is, you're either going to love it or hate it because it's a full on action book. It's just action from the first page to the last page. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I like action from page 1 to the end. I'm sure I'll like it. Nobody talks about how this book is actually going to rip your heart out of your body and stomp it into the ground. So I was completely blindsided by that part of things.
Wearing cleats.
Right. It was, yes, wearing cleats. It's there's nothing gentle about the process of reading this book. It is a violent act. And I was not expecting it. I was only expecting the action part. I was prepared for that, and I was not prepared for everything else that came at me. But that was a good thing. I liked it that way.
Yeah, because I read it first day, I was on it as soon as it dropped. But I have. That's the one thing I can really say about the Dresden community is when a new book is out, and they're really good about not giving away the current book. You know, there are some that I really have to stay away from all of their communities while I'm reading the series, because they'll just drop it, and I'm just like, I'm trying to not, like Cradle. I love all the Cradle people, but like if you go on Cradle Reddit, it's like they talk about like 90% of the stuff is about the current book, and I'm just like, I can't even be on here. I'm sorry, guys.
Right, and even if people don't spoil, they'll usually be like, oh, that last chapter, or this thing is going to happen, and it's going to, it's really going to affect you. And I'm like, well, is it now? Like, I don't know.
Now you have muted the impact.
Right.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I hate that.
Yeah. So no, the Dresden fans are good. They've been. You're right. They do protect people who haven't yet read the series, and maybe it's because they just love it so much. They want people to also love it that much.
So, Joe, like I said, I know you ran through the last couple books. What do you remember how you initially felt coming into these?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So So I read. First of all, I don't know if I was smart or not, but I read them the first time I read them together. Like I waited for Battleground before I read Peace Talks. And I don't know if I was just not caught up or if I did it on purpose, like as a move. I don't remember, but that's how I read it. And I remember really thinking, oh my God, these should have been one book. And I remember really feeling like the second like quarter or the middle half of Battlegrounds should have been much shorter. I was like, oh, he's going to fight it like again. Like it felt repetitive to me. And Peace Talks really felt like it didn't end the first time. And I remember really feeling like there should have been one big book, and and I was really curious to see what the original was like. Because my understanding is he wrote one book, submitted it, and they're like, this is too big. And then he chopped it up and pumped them up, right? He added fluff. Not that it was bad fluff, and I'm really curious what wasn't in that original draft. I found someone online who's got the original. I'm like, can I see that? They're like, no. So,
wow.
Because
R. Verdi has like, I think he made a very vague tweet. It's like I remember that first draft of that book that was turned into 2 books. I'm like, that's got to be this. Like, can I see those? He's like, no. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, because Cold Days is the longest book in the series. It's like just under 180,000 words. But if you were to have this be one, it would have been what, 250, 260 plus? Because they were both.
The originals might have only been like 200, which is still a chonker, right? That's a chonker, but I don't know. But I want to know what he added. Like, did he?
Yeah.
I can't imagine he just went into Battlegrounds and added descriptions, because I can't imagine it was faster on the first draft, right? Because
it's already super fast.
Right, right. So I don't know. I imagine he must have added action sequences. So Kraken not the first draft. That Kraken might have not been in the first draft.
Yeah. I was about to say the Kraken sounds like a one that could just be pulled right out and wouldn't really make any difference.
The Dracula stuff, I think that could have been left out, right? And but I don't mean.
Hey, don't you talk? That was the most exciting part for me. I've been waiting.
I'm not waiting. But if you had to make those 2 into one book, and it really bugged me the first time I read it, and for some reason, this time when I read it, I was totally fine with it. I think because I knew it, and I got over it.
Yeah, I think
Peace Talks doesn't really end. I was like, it's fine.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I can see like if it was on like the same schedule, like you had Peace Talks, and then we had to wait a year for Battlegrounds, that would have been bad. But I think or most of the fandom was like, okay, we only have to wait 3 months. We get it. Like, it's okay, But like, we probably would have been mad if you're like, Peace Talks is a standalone year from now. That would have been bad. But one thing I've been waiting to ask everybody here, I was like, I kind of want everybody's opinion, is do you think, because we had to wait 5 years from Skin Game to Peace Talks, do you think that he purposely put a lot of the stuff in here as like a sorry I've been gone so long, here are the greatest hits? Or do you think he always, because he said he's had most of this planned out forever, but do you think he, like, after being gone so long, put a lot of our favorite characters like right in to this book? to like be like, hey, sorry guys, but you're gonna get all your favorite people.
I would say
see
it's a little bit of
that.
column A and column B. I mean, I think he had the the outline already planned out and everything, but making us wait 5+ years and everything tends to get a fandom a little restless. So he's like, all right, let's sprinkle in everything everyone loves on top of what I planned, so that these people don't hang me.
Yeah, especially Butters. Let's give Butters this huge like badass arc.
Now that one right there is the one where I'm like, did he plan was this a retroactive? Did he work with what he already wrote and kind of retroactively apply it, or did he actually have the plan that he wanted Butters to be, the knight and go through this arc? Now that's the one I question, time and time again.
Well, I mean, it depends on when you mean it, because initially Butters was a throwaway character,
right?
So I wonder how long it took him to decide.
Like proven. Oh no, I'm sorry. Deadbeat. All right. Butters is now a fleshed out main character because he couldn't use Molly because he had to flip him around. All right. So I was like, I'm going to build up Butters. He's going to be, Harry's sidekick. And then, at the end of that, he makes, is it a foreshadow or is it a retroactive foreshadow where he says, Harry's waiting for one of the knights to show up to save him, and a knight doesn't show up. It's Butters. That's where my mind goes. I'm like, was that retroactive, or did he actually plan that before he put pen to paper?
Right. It's so hard to know, obviously. It's always hard to know. I said it's so hard to know. You never
right.
We can speculate, but this is definitely an easy book to drop those little Easter eggs into, because of the nature of Battleground and how it plays out. You can definitely, I'm sure he did pick some characters or some creatures or some monsters, and I just imagine him maniacally laughing, be like, people are gonna love this. I imagine he was so excited when he was writing this book, because I think it was so he pleased himself a lot when he decided what was going to go into this book. Or that's the impression that I get. It just seems like, even though it is, I think, at least an emotionally hard-hitting entry, I think there's also a lot of just really fun moments in Battleground, and moments that I think are, I don't want to call them fan service, because like I said, I think he enjoyed the heck out of them too, but there's a lot of fan service-esque parts of Battleground.
Harry soul gazing a Kraken and having it run, that is complete 100% fan service. There's no piece of that serves the plot or the character progression. It's just
absolutely.
They're gonna love this.
You know what it does? It drives us crazy. That's exactly what he did.
Oh, because we want to know what it saw.
What does everybody see?
But it's even extra extra, because in the next scene he does the soul gaze with the cop, the steady cop, who's also terrified, don't touch me, go save the city, but don't touch me. Same exact. You conveyed the same information. It's not as cool as soul gazing at Kraken, so that was total just people happy, which is fine. I'm not against it.
Well, and I think, because like Sarah was saying, I think Battlegrounds it was let's get down to business. No more fan service. It's this is the serious story. A lot more emotion to me is in Battlegrounds, but Peace Talks almost feels like Grave Peril again. Where it's all right, we're walking into the party, or this time it's we're walking into the meeting, and here's everybody. And Pharaohvax is back. We've been, and this is why I tell people that have never or just starting the Dresden Files, I was like, nobody throws up arcs. It's like Jim Butcher's throwing baseballs up in the air, and he's like, all right, wait for it to come down, people. that this is a major character. Who knows when they're coming back, but they will. And then Pharaohvax shows up. My wife's been waiting 10 years. That's her she just wants more of Pharaohvax from the very beginning. She's like, I love dragons. I need to know.
An offhand character, he has all of 10 lines maybe, and she's like, I need more of him. That guy in particular. She wants to see what he looks like in his dragon form. And from I got good word in the last book that it apparently breaks reality, so we can't really do that.
Right.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that's amazing. He's like, I can't show you my true form because I would literally break your reality. I'm just like, you can't say that, Jim. You can't say that and not do stuff. Like,
We're gonna have to see. All right, already, I'm certain we're gonna see that Faravax or his true form is gonna be described, hopefully in that vague, whimsical terms or not or whatnot there. But it's gonna end up being like the Never Never. That realm could take a beating.
Right.
Butters in the threesome. That's fan service.
with like bombshells too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, here, guys, enjoy.
that's the one thing in the books where I was just like, now come on, Jim.
That was the one.
The one thing. There's just one.
Of these books where I was just like, all right, we definitely didn't need that. Like,
Enjoyed it, but I didn't need it.
And Harry was just eating it up, Butter.
yeah.
You
But
lucky
like, don't you
dog.
ruin this for me.
Yep.
Don't you say a word, Harry.
No, I definitely think there's a lot of fan service in this book, but I also think that Jim Butcher is just his own fan. Like, people write books for a lot of different reasons. They might have an idea or a philosophy or like something. There's something that people want to accomplish when they write a book. But I feel like this far into the Dresden Files, Jim Butcher is just like, this is the coolest shit. Like, I love it. I'm gonna do whatever I want, and he's done well enough now that he can do whatever he wants, and he does do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and that's really cool.
It is cool. I like it. I'm a fan.
Well, and I think, I mean, because he LARPs and does all these things.
Oh, he's a mega geek.
And
Oh, yeah.
I think what it is, it's like his fans are like him. So he's just like, I like this. They're gonna like this, And that's a great place to be as a writer when you can find that group of people who are like exactly like you. So if you're enjoying writing it, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely.
Now, is it just me or anyone else notice that Jim really likes to sort of give you a metaphorical judo throw for the first sentence in every one of his books?
Yeah. He doesn't take his time.
No. Like in Peace Talks, the first sentence is Justine is pregnant. You're like,
Right.
wait, what? The hell? And then you got oh god, there's plenty others. One of the ones that changes.
Yep, changes did it
Harry,
too.
you're a father.
Yep.
And then there's
The monkey one?
yes, blood rates. I believe that was blood rates.
Yeah.
The building was on fire, and it wasn't my fault.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of good openers for sure.
But
it's just like it's the metaphorical judo throw.
yeah, but like right off the bat in this book, you have, Thomas, apparently trying to assassinate somebody.
Etchery, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. And then what happens? He gets like fridged for the rest. Like, this is my
Yeah.
biggest qualm with Peace Talks and Battleground. I love Thomas, and they just take him, and we're like, okay, well, finally, Thomas. And it's like, no, I'm just going to put him in a box for actually the next however many books. I'm like, Jim.
Was it just a torture session? I can't remember. Like something drained the ever-loving hell out of him by the end of that book.
No, they beat him.
That his own demon basically
was just like feeding on him.
He was feeding on
Yeah.
his body. I just read it like 2 days
Blasted
ago.
him.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, they beat him so bad he couldn't speak. The only thing he could say was Justine.
Barely.
Yeah.
You want to know what they're going to discover is going to fix that? I'm already predicting it. They're going to end up giving him Amaracus, and it's going to like suppress the damn demon or something.
Interesting.
Well, I've never thought about that actually. I just assume that they're going to feed him somebody like eventually. They're going to be on Demon Reach or something, and
think about
somebody's
it.
going to be coming after Harry, and Harry's like, "Okay, brother, boop."
Yeah.
Think about it. I think Thomas is perfectly primed to be the wielder of that sword, in my opinion. Just like Susan was when in Changes. Like if they bring him back out, he wants Justine back, and he's got a kid now to worry about. Like, it is the sword of love.
Well, remember because Mab said that she was going to pick Thomas as her knight if Harry kept refusing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess because Harry kept refusing to mess with the swords himself, right? He didn't want to, you know.
Well, I don't think he'd be a proper knight for any of the swords anyway. He's too doubtful.
Yeah, but I really liked how we got to see a little bit of Maggie interacting with Harry here, where she lives in the Smart Elf apartment complex or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, what do we got? Thomas we're just going to get out.
Interesting story.
Will be an interesting. Yeah. Well.
Oh yeah, because you know he's gonna get him out somehow.
Oh yeah, it will
needs
happen.
A Sasquatch. He needs a Sasquatch woman.
Yeah. True. Right.
There you go. That's
right.
A good one.
Big hairy chick. Tons of light
7'2",
Just
7'2".
eat.
You got to look up to her.
Just eat, dude. Just eat. You'll be good. She'll be fine. She'll enjoy it, right? Everyone wins.
Oh man,
it's a buffet all around.
All right. So speaking of that, right? So
You heard it here first.
Jim, if you're listening, it's all yours.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, we got River Shoulders. So that was awesome, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was great seeing him in a main entry.
I was like, Harry's on his toes or whatever. He's like, I felt this giant grip my shoulder and grabbed it and tried to turn around, and there's River Shoulders in a suit, and here's like
wearing glasses, right?
Yeah,
glasses and everything.
He's like, what the hell? He's like, I'm trying not to scare people. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm into anything Bigfoot. So and I love working for Bigfoot. So I was so pumped. I was like, yeah, we get to see him really, come out and, and help and be goofy only the way River Shoulders is goofy.
I thought the end of your sentence was going to cycle back to the female Yeti there. You're like, I'm really into it. And I was like, this is an interesting turn to this conversation.
Oh my God. Yeah.
On video now.
Really into, Sasquatch, I was going to say hairy men, but let's not say that. Let's not.
Hey man, we don't kink shame on here. We
don't judge.
This is a
2023
positive platform.
I mean, hey, Butters was in a threesome, so anything goes, right?
Well,
Very true.
I guess we could just all talk about how they got the visualization for them getting Thomas out of the dungeon, right? Harry and Laura. Yeah.
That was good.
Oh
Damn,
my God.
Succubus.
Well, and of course, Harry gets locked into a contract with her through Mab, and you're like, come on, man, he can't catch a break.
Right?
Can Harry meet a beautiful woman without being locked into a contract with her? Like, is that possible?
At this point, it's looking negative.
I mean, there wasn't any contracts with Murph. I mean, she was a reasonably pretty lady.
Do you think Laura's being set up to be his love interest later on, or
I think he's setting up a classic kiss, slap situation. It's going to be an on and off again type situation.
Enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
At the very least, I'm very curious to see how the whole marriage contract plays out. I'm like, when I read that, I'm like, what? You've got to be kidding me. What?
You've got to be kidding me.
And Matt's looking at it like it's
did I miss something?
And isn't that, I wonder if that's the reason for the 12 months, right? For the next book?
Yeah, I think it has to do with nothing
the end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, the thing I think is hilarious about that is that Mab doesn't see an issue with it. Like she's literally looking at the marriage like the classical depictions of marriage. It's like we're just strengthening our armies here. Right. This is a political alliance.
Yep, she's for
it.
it.
And Harry's like, no, I'm not.
Lara has no problem with it. I think Harry has a problem with it. I don't know that Lara does.
I mean, I think she's got a thing for Harry.
I think so too.
They hint at her plenty of times. She's always giving him a little extra attention. The Valkyrie says it to him a couple times, and I think Peace talks. She likes you, you know. And one of the, I'm terrible with names, which is awful, but they definitely hinting at that.
Yeah.
Well, I get a different depiction. My mind goes to a different place. See, I'm looking at her like you know, a fat kid in a candy store. She's like smorgasbord. You know, she wants to take all that energy from him. No, you know, I think she's getting a little bit more. I think over the years, you know, but you know, by years I mean books. She's grown more friendly with him and everything. But I don't trust succubuses.
Just after him for his body.
I think there is at least a little bit of respect there that has come into play over time. Like she's seen what he's capable of, what he can accomplish, and I think, you know, what she thought of him when they first met and what she thinks of him now are very different. Whether or not that translates into something that can make a marriage is a different question. But
I've had marriages based on less.
Well, and already you've got the jealousy going there too, because like when Mab announced that, Molly was there, and she's like,
"Yeah."
You could tell. I mean, she can't second guess her boss, but at the same time, I know she's internally going, "What the fuck?" Sorry, I hope this is. I hope
no,
you.
Hey, we're free here. Whatever.
We're 31 minutes in too, so you know.
So.
She's looking over at Mab going, that fucking bitch.
Right.
which only makes Mab happier. Let's be honest.
Right. It's a win-win for her.
Yeah.
Now I don't know, was it in peace talks here, or was it in one of the was it in the last like side story book where Molly, you know, basically said she's like, I'm like, she was talking and she's like, I'm still in love with Harry, like straight up. There was no like coy about it.
Yeah,
was it the last side story before?
I think it was in Side Job.
Ghost Story. Yeah, because she talks to him directly about it in Ghost Story. You mean after that?
No, it's when she's the Winter Lady. It might have been the one.
It's that one
where she was in Alaska, maybe.
Her as the Winter Lady. It's the one from her perspective, I think.
Yeah, the Cold Harbor or whatever it is, like the one where she's up in Alaska, like Joe said.
Something like that, yeah.
It might have been that one. But yeah, like we know straight up that she is still in love with Harry, like no doubt. And so like Mad being like, oh yeah, I'm marrying him off. He doesn't have, you know, any say in it.
Yeah, and it's worse than something like Karen too, because like she could look at Karen and as friendly as she is with Karen and everything, she'd be like, well, I mean, I only got to wait like 60, 70 more years, and then I could swoop in there on the rebound. Lara, she's not
there
aging.
forever.
She's like, I might have to kill a bitch.
Okay, and this builds on my theory. You remember the last stream, JR? I talked about a theory I have about Harry and Molly. So this builds on my theory now, because we already know that Jim has at least thought about the possibility of Mab dying, because Mab flat out tells Harry, if something happens to me, kill Molly, because she's not ready for this. So we already know that Jim has thought about, maybe eventually Molly might get the Winter Mantle. And if she does, then she no longer has to be celibate technically. So I mean, there's at least that possibility. I still think at some point there's a possibility for Harry and Molly. So now not only does she have to figure out how to get rid of Mab, she has to figure out how to get rid of Lara.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
My thought with the Mab situation is like, I don't think that Jim's gonna get rid of Mab until like right at the end. It's gonna be like, it'll be a chaos thing. Like the outsiders are coming in and they kill her, or she dies, and then it's all thrust on Molly, and then it's just utter chaos. And can we survive with the transition like happening?
I wonder if her death triggers the Hell's Bells. Because I mean, the last 3 books are going to be called. I could have the order wrong, but I'm pretty sure I don't. Hell's Bells, Stars and Stones, and Empty Night. Like I mean, something big like that, I would figure that Mab's death would be the catalyst to trigger the apocalypse. So that's probably what starts the apocalyptic trilogy. Mm-hmm. At least that's my guess.
That could be.
I feel like that's a reasonable theory.
Oh, actually, I think that's a great. Okay, so more.
You're like,
points.
No, this is a great theory, actually. Sarah.
More points to that. More points to that. Who did Mab just fuck over? Well, re-fuck over because he fucked her over. Nicodemus, and Nicodemus is going to probably be the person that's the point of view character, or not point of view. I'm sorry, the big bad of book 20.
No,
which would trigger the apocalyptic trilogy.
It's got to be.
It'd be Nicodemus every 5 books.
Oh no, because it was 15. I'm thinking 17 because we're on 17. Yeah.
Yeah. So. He would be the big bad of the book that would trigger the apocalypse. I mean,
a little apocalypse, right?
Who the shit knows at this point?
Right? Yeah,
because he said there's all kinds of apocalypses.
Right.
I think anything involving outsiders is the big A.
So, like when Ethnu first showed up. Like we had Korb was coming in. We all thought Korb was the guy, right? Yeah. It was like, Korb's the king. It's King Korb, right? Mm-hmm. And then like he gets out of the limo and he's got a thing around his neck, and then Ethnu comes out, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, Jim. Were you throwing us a curveball here? And they just kill all the people out in front of the building like it's nothing. Like they were breathing our air. Yeah.
How dare they? Dirtbag humans.
Yeah, and you're just like, well, they don't care about hospitality at all. Okay. This is new.
He's got to keep ramping it up, right? Because he made it's like a shonen anime or a shonen manga, right?
Oh, it really is in a lot of ways.
The bad guy you fight in volume 1 ends up being your ally by volume 5. But you have to make each successive bad guy worse and nastier and more sadistic, more cruel. I just want to destroy shit. Like you go from the person I just want control to I want to just level Chicago. So it's like, okay, so that she's really bad. Whereas Mab wasn't really bad. Mab had reasons for all the
Well, she's the devil, I mean, Mab has restraints. She's not gonna go messing shit up like that.
But at this point, we can forgive Mab everything because everything she's done is to strengthen Winter for the purpose of stopping the
outsiders.
The outsiders, to save everyone. All right, whatever you need to do. We'll forgive you. You don't leave a tip at the restaurant. It's okay. You to shore up the defenses against the outsiders. We'll forgive.
Well, what we've learned is Mab is basically 100% logic. It's like it's like logic sometimes sucks. Sometimes you don't like it. But that's the heart. She's logic. Titania is the heart. She's compassion and but Mab's like, I ain't got time for that. Right. I ain't got time for compassion. Okay, these outsiders are trying to destroy us.
But that's the thing, though. She really doesn't have time for that. That's where that's the thing. She's not just a force of nature and she can't help it. And you're like whatever she's got a reason, and it's actually a good one. So it's the rehabilitation, but then you don't want to rehabilitate so the next person you bring in has to be even more nasty and just kill everyone for no reason. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it reminds me the quintessential example of that's Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. If anyone's ever watched anime, every single villain in that series is so strong to be able to flip the previous villain to death with their pinky, and it's just
lucky Goku put his finger away. That's all I'm gonna say.
What I'm hearing is that we're getting a beach episode for book 18. This is going to be the fun time when they just go to the beach and we get to forget all the terrible things that just happened. So
I mean, every anime's got an episode. That beach episode.
They're setting up a harem episode for sure. Totally do it.
Hunters is already 1/3 way there.
Yeah. It's good.
Hey, well, I'm just hoping that half of the book isn't Harry just walking to the fight.
Oh God, the filler episodes. Everyone's
you have instant teleportation. Why is it taking you 20 episodes to get across the planet?
Why does the spirit bomb have to load for 6 months?
Oh my God, that gave me bad flashbacks right there. 2002, freaking Cartoon Network.
The one problem I have with these books is they put a hole in my theory that Harry ends up being Merlin, because Mab knows Merlin.
Yeah.
When someone yells at her like, "Oh, you're just upset because of what happened with Merlin," I'm like, I don't know that she'd be. It feels like it would be too much now for Harry to go back in time, and that was my hypothesis, Sarah, that I've been cultivating. That's probably wrong. So I'm very sad.
Yeah. Now that we know that Mab was in a relationship with Merlin, like 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years
Harry,
ago.
But it would take some more twists and turns to get there. It'd be harder to pull off.
Sarah, what did you think when Ethnu walked in and the only two, like outside of Mab, only Odin and Fairfax could even move or speak? I mean,
well, if this had been the first book, I would have been like, what? There's nothing that can possibly happen. But I had been through 16 of these now. It was more like, how is this going to happen? Clearly we're going to get through it. But what is it going to do?
I mean, the part I loved about that was when Ethne basically Spartan kicks Mab into the wall.
Right?
Right there, that's where you know the stakes. You're like, holy shit.
Several walls.
Nothing else can even come close to that.
Yeah, and I almost wondered if Mab was going to come back from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just love Molly's like, what's behind this wall? And they're like, storage. What's behind that wall?
No, Mab gets a lot of good moments in both of these books. Like these are very much Mab books, and I did enjoy that because she is a character who has grown on me for the reasons that you talked about, Joe. Because Jim Butcher has done a good job of rounding out her character without changing who she is, because sometimes when characters become popular and your fans grip onto them, you can fall into this trap, I think, of making them into what people want them to be. Yeah. But I think that he has made us really enjoy her character without changing fundamentally who she is, which can be tricky. So it was fun to see her do things in this book. I was genuinely worried at times that she might make it through.
Yeah. Well, and you had Marcone standing up to her and being like, basically, this is not becoming of a guest. And she just Spartan kicked Mab. She doesn't give a crap. But he's like, under the Accords, and then she blows the roof off the place, literally. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, oh, and I love how Jim sets stuff up by talking about whenever he's gonna do have somebody get their ass kicked or have something destroyed, he always previously talks about how indestructible the thing is. He's like, he was talking about oh man, this castle has just got layers on layers on layers of wards. I can't believe how much power they put into this. It should have took forever. And then she just blows the top off of it.
Right.
A magical nuke.
They do that in fighting manga all the time. They'll have some guy, they'll have a whole half a chapter of how tough he is. And then someone else will just come and club him into a pile of goo. And they're like, oh, so really you didn't need 10 pages about the second. The second guy was the one who was really tough.
Yeah.
He was there all along, the quiet one.
Point by the first guy who then just gets clobbered. And you're like, what happened to that guy? I liked him. He's gone.
So, did anyone else feel a little jarred with Ebenezer and his absolute just hatred of vampires to the point that Thomas, his own grandson, he's like, fuck that guy. I hope he dies.
It
I've
felt
already got
more,
one. I don't need another one.
Yeah, I'm like,
it
good
felt
Lord,
Morgan-ish, right?
he's your grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like Morgan all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I get it, like, what happened, but, like, Harry, you should, like, your grandson, who you trust, it seems, like, is telling you, no, this guy, above everybody else, this guy is good. Like, trust me, he won't screw me or you over. You know, he may screw everybody else over. But, but Ebenezer's like, no, I don't care what you tell me. And then he's
I have a feeling we've yet to get some of that story as to what. I mean, we know why he has some of that hatred, but I think we're going to get more of a story on that at some point. We have to, because like right at the motorboat scene, I was just like, come on, Harry, just tell him and everything. Because I was thinking, okay, if he finds out that they're actually blood, maybe it will calm things down a little bit. So just tell him, Harry. And when he finally told him, I'm like, okay, well, it's about damn time. And then Ebenezer still just goes off the deep end. I'm like,
if
dude.
anything, it made him worse. If anything, it made him worse.
That's the one thing I liked. It kind of subverted that, because we kind of all expected that, like, he was going to do this big reveal and be like, Thomas is your grandson. And Ebenezer would go, oh my God, this whole time I can't believe, but Jim's like, nope, he's still going to beat your ass. Like,
all right. That's okay. But I think it's a step beyond when he's actively trying to blow the damn ships up.
Right.
Blow the boats up and everything. Is like, I'm not even going to give myself time to process this. I need to kill what's pissing me off. And that vampire, he's pissing me off.
We need more backstory from him to make me buy that.
Well, he did say that, back before Lord Wraith became a puppet, he told Harry, don't go after him because he's immune to magic. I've tried to kill him, and Ebenezer hadn't been able to use his magic to get to him. So you kind of do have that, Ebenezer has tried to kill these people, and he's related to Wraith, and as far as he knew, that's Wraith's son.
I don't buy that. I think if anything, that could be a plot hole, because we're talking about a guy who can turn satellites into meteors. Like, I don't care how much magic you're immune to, a meteor hitting your ass and you're gonna be squashed.
Well, I think what he meant by it is like spell. He tried to do like the exploding heart stuff or something, something like that. That's what I always thought. I always thought he was,
Well, I mean, but it shows that he's well and happy, more than capable of dropping a freaking satellite on somebody.
On your head.
So he should have done something physical. Shit, turn his freaking staff into a spike and throw it. Something. Just because he can't pick him up, using his meteor power shit and squeeze him like Force Crush, doesn't mean I just got to quit and stop. This guy killed my daughter. Nah, I can't do anything. I'll walk away.
I get the impression that Jim Butcher is isolating Harry from all of his main supports. I think he needs Harry to be in a vulnerable place in the part of the story that we're entering into. And all of the people that he was closest with are kind of getting separated from him by whatever, various means. And I think he just went, extra hard on
some more final than others.
It's some more final than others, but he went all in on the reaction there. And I think maybe that is part of what's going to happen. I expect the next book to be very painful, because that social isolation and being a target like he was in book one, I found that really hard in book one. I didn't even care about Harry in book one. So I feel like reading the next book is going to be so tough, because I think he's going to be in a similar position.
Did you guys enjoy learning absolutely nothing about being a Starborn? Because they I love the fact that, right? They even have a whole conversation about it, telling you absolutely nothing you don't already know.
multiple conversations in these two
About
books.
nothing you don't already know.
He asks everybody.
Call me
Yeah,
next.
Everybody knows, but won't tell him.
He kept teasing us too. He's like that one character. I forgot her name right offhand, but she's like, "Do you even know what Stars and Stones means?" and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Okay, tell me, come on, I want to know." I'm like,
No.
Give.
And that is
Yeah.
the part where Jim Butcher is laughing maniacally at his key.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
He's watching fan reactions and he's like, "Oh yeah, oh I'm loving this."
Right?
Just
The
you
sadistic
wait.
bastard.
Right?
I feel like, I honestly feel like Jim is like one of these like music artists who, as soon as they drop a music video, they go and watch other people's reactions.
Right.
I feel like he's the same way. Like as soon as that people start dropping reviews of his book, he's like, let's see how I got you. Let's see, did I make you cry? Did I make you, like, were you jumping out of your seat?
Well, I mean,
But,
I
like-
think Martin's just as bad at that, and I guarantee you he was sitting down watching everybody react to the Red Wedding with like nipple clamps on or something. He's like, yeah,
Nipple clamps. Oh my goodness.
hey,
One image I needed today.
hey, Martin hasn't been reacting to anything for like 12 years, so I don't know. Like,
they got pills for that.
oh my god.
Hey, Gary asks someone like the archivist. Sometimes I feel like he's like searching for answers, but he doesn't search in the places where he should be looking.
Yeah, I feel like, of course, plot demands, but like,
Yeah.
there's definitely people that he could just go to and be like, hey, what's up? Like Stars and Stones,
Come on,
like
man.
Starborn. Yeah.
Well,
Like, I won't tell anyone if you don't tell anyone.
Wouldn't-
Yeah. Like,
it's all right. This is pure speculation on my part. I'm throwing it out there, but it's probably associated with that I can never remember the name of this group, but the group that Thomas is a part of, that they don't want many people to know about.
oh,
Because I guarantee you it's involving outsiders.
the Oblivion. The
Oblivion
War
War people. Like, I
Yeah.
guarantee you it's associated with that. So that's probably why we're just waiting for Jim to come out and say it. And Jim, if you're watching this, you can send my royalty checks and
I'm giving him stuff for free. Pop parties, vampires, and you're asking for checks.
ain't nothing in this life for free, man.
Oh, dude. Well, okay, and then we also had like Mac, like when Harry's coming off a demerge, Harry's like taking all the weapons, and he's like, okay, Mac. He hands Mac the plaque, which is like, the way he described it is like, it's like a super ward, right? Like, anyone in here, as long as Mac is with you, this place will be fine. And so he kind of, basically, Harry knows what Mac is now, because Harry's like, if he is what I think he is, and I'm like, who do you think he is, bro?
Well, I
Like,
thought they
let me in on it. Like,
I thought they said. I thought he outright said that he would be peers to fallen angels. I came to the impression that he was an angel. A retired one or whatever.
yeah, I feel
maybe he's one of the archangels.
because he said we've heard him say he's a watcher. He's out. He,
They say ex-angel in the book.
Yeah. So they say ex-angel.
I
So
think it's X. Yeah.
I thought I remember, seeing that in there. I was certain
I don't
that
remember seeing that, because I was left wondering by the end. I'm like, wait, okay, so who is Mac actually? Please just tell us.
now we got 3 people that are going to end up looking this up at some point. Maybe not on the stream, but later. I guarantee it.
Oh no, Joe's got the searching eyes.
Yeah.
I feel like he's on it.
The glasses are on.
Well, we know he has some connection, because we know that
he has some like angelic connection, I
on the
think.
cross.
Yes.
All right. Dresden Files fandom.com says Harry's theory is that Mac is some kind of fallen angel.
Okay.
So Harry
it's still
does say
his theory.
something along those lines in one of these 2 books. I just read it like in the last 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been trying to reread them. I didn't make it all the way through Battlegrounds this time around, because
I know Mac like had to get blood off, and put basically a bloody thumbprint on it to activate it, So you would think he's something that has to do. Now, my question is, him doing that, is Mac pulling a John Wick? Is he back? Is there I think he's back, right?
Well, keep asking me if I'm back.
Yeah, they've gone too far this time. They killed his metaphorical dog, and so now he's back.
Yeah, he acted. He used his blood to activate something, that was on the cross, right?
Mac's gonna come out saying, "You killed my hops. You gotta die."
Yeah.
We'll see.
And I thought one of the coolest things when they were all standing on the top, the top of the castle, and they were like shooting like these like poisonous squid things, and they're like, and Mab's like, all right, we're just gonna release the mouse, and Harry's like, don't do that. They'll just kill everything. Like they'll kill
Mab's like, your
millions, and so like Harry calls Toot Toot, and Toot Toot comes down, and he's like, Toot Toot's like in love with Lacuna now. Like he's like, oh no, she loves me now, and Lacuna's like, I'm only around you because I am contracted to, basically. And he's like, see,
And doesn't she say something like, I will rip out all your teeth or something?
Yeah, collect your teeth from your dead body. So she wants me for my body. It's like,
but I love how Harry's like gets real serious. He's like, Toot, Avenue's not just coming for us. She's coming for the pizza. And he's like,
yeah,
Toot's like, what? And he's like going Super Saiyan, and all of a sudden it looks like everybody, like even Mab and everybody's like looking up, and it looks like stars are falling out of the sky, and then everyone gets serious. They're like, how did you get so many? He's like, there's like 100,000 little folk, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, it's for the pizza, and then they start going out and murking all of the squids and stuff. And I was like that was funny, but also it was like awesome because people were like respecting Harry even more. They're like, how do you have like all of the little folk?
It's the perfect like protagonist power, because what happens is you're taking this guy and you're saying you got this edge over everyone else because fundamentally you were a sort of a kind and decent human being to people who are weaker than you. And this is what we dream of. Like, you always want your heroes to win, not just because they happen to be stronger. Like, that's not satisfying.
Yeah.
It's because they have some kind of virtuous characteristic that we admire, and then that lets them win. Cleverness works too. We think of cleverness as a virtue, or thinking as a virtue. But this is just, he was kind to Tutu. And that, and the fact that gives him like all this power is like incredibly satisfying. I actually think you should lean into it more.
Mm-hmm.
Jim,
absolutely.
Just listen. But people eat that up, because when I throw it in books, people love it. So, and I'm not Jim Butcher, so. But it's a really nice twist. It's a way to use that. So
and also we get some new. Of course, Jim's got to throw some new creatures at us, right? So we get, and of course, some of them are actual lore things. Like we get the Huntsman, in this, which was pretty cool. And of course, we all knew how the Huntsman thing was going to go. As soon as River Shoulder's like, we got to kill them all fast, because they all become stronger and they dissolve. And then it's like, oh, we know exactly how this is going to go. You're going to miss one, and then, I thought it was really interesting though, is when Harry picks up one of the Huntsman's staffs, he's like, it's powered by hate. And you're just like, damn, like that's kind of dark. I mean, like, you gotta hate something to be able to use this. I guess that's a good way to make sure the good guys can't get that weapon in their hands. But
I mean, define hate. What do they have to hate? What they're killing? Because I mean, I hate paper cuts. If I think about paper cuts, can I hold it? Damn it, Jim! You need to be more specific.
The hate is swelling in you now.
Do it. God.
Oh my gosh! But like
somehow he returned.
You know, we talked a little bit about it, but when they ran into they heard the drum beating, and you're like, okay, now we know it's like that's got to be necromancers, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And he,
Well, this was this was Battlegrounds, wasn't it, or was this still Peace Talks? I can't remember.
This was Battlegrounds.
Okay, I thought so.
And they run in there, and he sees Marvra, and you're like, of course, she's like a bad penny. You can't get rid of her, no matter what. It's like she just keeps popping up.
The last time we saw her was when he gave her that epic, speech and everything in Deadbeat. So at least it stuck for a while, long enough for that, for it to feel like that speech got through to her. But she came back with backup this time.
And my excitement, because like all the things we've seen. Okay, we saw Ferrovax. Everybody's here. River Shoulders. So as he's going around and starting describing people, and then he goes, but the last person like revealed their hood, and they weren't a corpse. I'm like, you better tell me, Jim. And it's like, and he's like, it's, and then I think it was what was it, Chandler was like, that's Dracul, and I was just like, oh, about time. But and I just love the power. Like they gave him some different powers than you're used to. Like his whole he points and then he's gone. He just walks, but I know somebody was telling me that's a thing they use in manga a lot.
Yeah, it's called flash stepping.
Flash stepping, yeah, that's what I've heard people say that's kind of where that came from. But I mean, it's so funny. Like, of course, Harry starts like running his mouth. He's like, "Oh, you're F News bitch now. Is that what you are?" I love how Dracul just kind of lets him go on, and then he's just like, he goes, I don't care about her. He's like, I'm doing my own thing over here. He goes, I'm basically using her, and and he like wrecks everybody. Now like River Shoulders is able to use like his magic nullifying abilities to like keep him from I do love that Jim's like, oh yeah, he tried to flash step again and bam, and runs into a wall, and you got this epically bad guy just face plants into nothing, but then he just wrecks everybody. He's like, oh, this is going to be fun. And he just starts wrecking everyone. And Harry even says to a point, what does he say? Like Dracul's will was stronger than all of the Lords of Outer Night combined. And he was like, holy God,
And he's a Starborn.
Yeah, and he's a star. And we're like, tell us.
And there we are again.
You just tell us.
Like Joe, I don't think you're properly conveying like the level of excitement you had when he showed up. Like, all right, all the way back many moons ago, when he was first going through the Dresden Files and everything, he would hit me up and tell me, where he was and what he's doing and things like that. And when he learned about Dracul being, way more badass than Dracula, which, if you've ever read his books, he's a big Dracula fan. He was like, well, what the hell's Dracula? What the hell's Dracul? If he's not one of the Black Courts, what the hell is he? I don't know. All I said to him in text was, look up what it means. And then I got a text back, dragon. It was something hilarious.
Yeah, but I don't think he's a dragon.
Yeah, I know. But still.
At least not here.
The level of excitement you had was just something special.
Yeah, but, and I'm just wondering what he has going on because, and I actually think that Chandler is in on it because Chandler didn't get killed. He got sucked into some kind of black hole that Dracul created, right? Why wouldn't he just kill him? And then he killed Bill and Yoshimo, and they're turning them, but Chandler just gets sucked away into some void.
It could have been a jaunt. Could have been worse than dying. We don't know.
Being sucked into a void does not sound fun. That's not an ending that I would choose.
Yeah. When I first read it, I thought, I was like, oh man, they got Chandler and everything. But like through my second reread, I'm just like, something like Dracula's got a plan here. I mean, he's doing this for a reason. He basically said, F Nuke does whatever she wants. I do whatever I want. So I'm starting to think that Chandler's in on it, or he's definitely a part of the plan.
Syndrome.
It's because he's British, isn't it?
He's very British.
You can never trust those super villains.
The more times you read it, the more things you will.
The more British he gets.
The more devious it becomes.
But and then of course we get actual giants in this book, which was
frost
amazing.
Giants?
Yeah, and the gun. What do we have? Like the undead Valhalla warriors are just like they've been like shooting guns and doing everything, and then like when the giants, which should be the scariest about all things, they're just like no guns, axes. Yeah, we're happy now.
Well, and I absolutely loved the fact that the giant that popped up with and was going to fight Harry, freaking humble bragged him. It was a humble brag. He's like, I fought Odin's son and I didn't die.
Yeah, because Harry was like, all right, these guys like boasting, so I got to boast of what I've done. And then the only thing he says, he's like, talks about he's like, yeah, I survived Thor. What? Like,
what do you
I was
got
like,
for me?
Okay, then this guy is legit. Like,
apparently, Thor's not as powerful as a rocket.
A rocket launcher.
Oh my gosh, that's
something
so
right out of Buffy, by the way. I mark my words. You get Jim on here and ask him where the hell he came up with that. He's like, oh, Buffy. It's where Buffy shot the rocket launcher at the judge.
To be fair, that is an amazing episode of Buffy.
It is.
Oh my gosh, but and of course, the worst character that Jim has ever created comes up. Like just a few minutes later, Rudolph, that son of a bitch.
I hate him so much. Man. I've hated him
so much too.
I have hated him since book 2. I can't stand somebody so willfully ignorant and can just sniveling. That's the best word I got for it. Sniveling little bastard. This guy is
definition of the word asshole. I mean, just. Yeah.
Now he's not even an asshole. He's the herpes on an asshole. He's awful. He's awful. No redeeming quality. At least an asshole could take a shit. What the hell does a goddamn herpes do?
I didn't know what delightful lines I was going to get in this stream tonight. If I kind of prepared myself adequately.
Luckily, it's recorded, so you can watch it again.
That's true. I can
relive it over and over.
Rewind.
I spew nonsense and I sow discord. I said it earlier.
But I mean, he's just.
JR, I dare you to make a YouTube short of that.
I'm cutting it.
It's
going to happen.
You can just sell me my royalties on that one, Joe.
Oh my gosh! But you had him over there, and he's like, "Everybody, just calm down. This is like the whole city is being destroyed. What are you thinking? Like, just listen to them. Just go along." But no, he has to get all jittery, and then
he has no trigger discipline, and they foreshadowed that earlier in the book.
Yeah,
and as a person that uses firearms and everything, I'm getting genuinely itchy and shit when he's talking about having his finger on the trigger, because you just don't.
Oh yeah,
you
know somebody's gonna die, and then it happens.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wish he would have kept pushing. Honestly, I like the Knights of the Cross a little bit less now.
Yeah.
That
was rough. I mean, and the thing is like, she got shot and she's bleeding out, and that's bad enough, right? That's bad enough, and it looks, we're all pretty sure she's about to die. And Jim's like, I need to make this worse for you. I need I need you to have, to have less of your heart after this scene's over. So I'm going to have Harry try and soul gaze her. And like the way that Jim says it's like the background is illuminating around her, and he has that vision that he started to have like in I don't even know, book 2 or book 4 or something like that.
When
where
she's
seen her as an avenging angel there for a second.
Barrel. It was great.
Yeah. And you just start seeing that, and then it blinks out, and you're just like, God, no. Like I was right there. I was right there with Harry, where Harry just lost it, and he's just like chasing him down. And I was like, yeah, he built that shield up.
My tissues on that one. That was the one major moment in the book where I thought about throwing my Kindle across the room, and I'm like, okay, I better calm down. But man, I was just like, what the fuck? That was just. I'm like, of all the people to kill, and you kill Karen. Come on, Butcher. At least give Harry some hope.
Harry can't be happy.
Harry can't be happy.
It's a law of the universe at this point.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, if he does anything to Maggie, we riot. But I don't think he'll ever do that.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
Am I the only one who assumes that she'll be back in a book or two in some other form?
I think she'll come back as an what is it, Einargaran or
Einhenjar.
But she can't.
She'll come back, I think, but she won't.
Yeah, she can't come back until everybody who knew her is dead.
Right.
So now.
So she's not coming back for what?
That just sounds like an afternoon's work for Harry.
Yeah, I was gonna say now to back up what Vern was saying here, like honestly, Harry is on first like favor basis with Odin,
Mm-hmm.
So he could be like, "Hey, my life's shit. Can you help me out? Like
my life is shit.
give me something. Look around me.
Didn't they steal shit from like the Lord of the Underworld like just a couple books ago? Or am I?
That's right. Skin game.
Take a Saturday afternoon, get her back. It'll be fine. What are you crying for?
Let Hades go over and talk to Odin and be like, "Hey, Hades, I need a favor. Can you just talk to him?"
You know people. This is like not that bad.
What you think Harry's gonna pull a Hercules or a person?
I'll tell you right now, I would be down for that. I would read the hell out of that. That's a book right there.
Like the Valkyries love her. Like they've been saying that all along, right? Everyone, all these supernatural people, like, oh, she's cool. She's Harry's a little bit iffy, but Karen, we like her. I'm like, someone's gonna bring her back. She'll be fine.
Like
she'll get better.
I thought you died. You die. You go to the afterworld for a while. You train. You come back stronger. It's fine.
All right. This isn't a hyperbaric chamber. Okay, this isn't like.
Broken's always going to the afterworld and training.
She's going to see the Supreme Kai. Come on.
Yeah, she'll be with the Supreme Kai. She'll train. She'll come back. She'll throw fireballs at people. She'll be great. She'll be great.
I just don't think so. I think that was too. I think that was too strong of a scene for them to just like retroactively just be like, we can get her back.
If it happens.
That would be like them bringing Tony Stark back.
Its meaning.
They are gonna bring him back. They're gonna bring Tony back.
Well, that's
floundering. Everything's floundering so bad.
That's only because they went downhill after Endgame. Okay, at that time they shouldn't have brought him back. But
he should stay dead. But they're going to pilfer his corpse. They're gonna bring it back, and they're gonna marionette him around on strings and shit. And it's gonna honestly, it's not even gonna be sad. It's just gonna be like, I don't even know the word for it. It's gonna be worse than sad.
Go back to your old fail-safe. Herpes on an asshole.
You're never gonna live that down, dude.
Hey, I'll own it.
You're at the end of the line.
I mean, honestly, at some point, I'm going to end up topping it. It's just a matter of time.
I mean, Paris Hilton's got that's hot. I mean, he's got herpes on assholes. I mean,
True. Everyone has their calling card.
Hey! All I'm saying is it's the gift that keeps giving.
Yeah. But
Wow.
like another another interesting thing outside of herpes is that Harry had that he got that mantle, like the Winter Knights mantle, and we learned that like Mab said that this is one thing it's supposed to have, like it's a built-in feature, and he started getting like everybody to start following him, and then of course we just love that Mab's been hoarding an arsenal in the bean the whole time. She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think had it commissioned?
Yeah, I love how Jim works in that the bean has like a 1,000-year lease or something like that, which it does in real life. She's like, that's the reason. Yeah, Mab, who makes deals like that? Yeah.
So this is interesting. I've always wondered why Harry Dresden is tall. Because you have the main character, you want the main character to be like sort of overwhelmed by his opponents. You don't want to feel like he's a bully. You want to always feel like he's being pushed around by others. And usually you make them short. Other people are looking down on them. They're physically less intimidating, right? That's very common. So why is he 6'9"? Right? Like that's just a weird choice for the character that everyone's kind of beating up on, that he's literally looking down on them all the time. And then in this book, he's like, oh, makes for a good leader because everyone in a big room, they can see your eyes, they can look at your face, and I'm like, huh.
Well, that's why what is the stat that like 75% of CEOs and world leaders are 6 foot tall or taller, something like that.
Well, that's a confidence. I mean, there's the short man syndrome. Thank you, and then people. I work in the finance industry. I see this. People make more money. They tend to like loom over me in elevators.
In elevators.
I'm not even kidding. Well, that's when I notice it. Usually I'm sitting at a computer. You can't tell how tall someone is. You get in the elevator with these guys, I'm like, oh, crap. Okay, this is how it is. But I've always wondered about why he made him so tall, and I'm starting to wonder if this was part of it or if it was just the thing. I don't know. But I'm still trying to figure out, like, why did he make him so tall? Like, it's been bugging me for like 22 years.
Yeah. I think it might also be he wanted to make him kind of awkward. Small car, banging his head on stuff, looming over short people, and trying to fit in, and he can never fit in. And I think that's I think that is part of the whole, Harry Dresden experience. Is like Harry can't fit in. No matter,
because he's not like 6'2", he's 6'9", right? That's like you don't look like you belong anywhere.
Well, and that's the thing. He can't fit in. He can't fit in like normal society because he's so tall. He can't fit in with the the Winter Court because he hates most of them. He can't. He can't fit in with the he can't fit in with the White Council because they tried to kill him when he was a teenager. There's almost no place. Like Sarah was saying, it's like it's loneliness. It's like this isolation, and he finds that almost everywhere. Sorry to bring it down.
That's good. That's good.
But like and okay, so we can get to kind of the battle, right? The Ethnu. Fighting everybody. And this is one thing I've debated people, other Dresden fans on it. I think that like Ethnu was OP, right? Of course. We see how powerful she wrecks everybody multiple times. But I actually don't think she was that strong. I think the only reason she was able to what was the Olympic bronze armor that she had on.
Her
I think had she not had that armor, Odin would have probably taken her out really quick. Which do you guys agree with that, or do you think like she really was that powerful?
Oh no, the Titanic bronze was the the center of her strength. With that and the Eye of Baelor. Without those two things, any of those supernatural heavy hitters in my eyes would have smacked her around and like beaten her to a bloody pulp. I mean,
But we're speculating, right? Because we don't know what kind of precautions she would have taken if she didn't have the armor.
And also,
like go walk into a fight with a mouth guard on. You might let someone punch you in the mouth because you're like, well, I've got the mouth guard or something. But if you don't have the helmet on, you might be a lot more careful about what's hitting you.
I don't just from the book and everything, reading the book, I don't think she is a strategist. I don't think she's the one making plans or doing strategies or anything like that. I viewed her, especially with the Eye of Baelor, as somebody that has a hammer and sees every damn thing on the planet as a nail. Like when all you got is a hammer, everything's a nail, and that to me, that was her. I don't think she had plans. But again, like saying I don't think, that's pure speculation on my part. I'll admit that.
Well, and also, what do you guys and I really got to thinking about this the second time through, is where did she get that armor? Did she steal it from a Greek god, or did they give it to her? Because we haven't met any Greek gods, right?
Hades.
Yeah, we met Hades, right? But I don't think we've met anybody else.
No, I mean, to me, something like that, and it was Titanic bronze. I don't know if
I thought he said it was like Olympic.
There is Olympic bronze, and then you do it, and you do some weird shit with it, and it becomes Titanic bronze.
Yeah, I don't know, but like
two other things, right?
Maybe I'm hearing, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like they were saying that it was, it was Olympic bronze or I know they said Titanic, but I'm just wondering where. Yeah, maybe it was the White Council that was
alloy of Olympian bronze and Mordite. Mordite devours life, but when it's alloyed with regular matter, it devours energy, and only beings of divine status can penetrate it. Mm-hmm. This is according to Dresden Files fandom.com wiki.
Yeah, that's what I remember. So it's like, are the Greeks in league with her, or is that something where do you guys expect that we're about to see some of those?
Well, she is a Titan. In the book, she's described as a Titan. So,
right.
I mean, it would make sense that, a Titan has, some Titanic bronze. It's like, it's like her underwear.
But she's a proto Irish goddess, right?
Yeah, she originates over in Ireland and everything, but she is described in the book as a Titan.
Yeah, but
that's all I'm saying.
Weren't the Titans like the progenitors of the Greek gods? Didn't they all?
Yes.
Like earlier
Kronos and
40 years ago.
Yeah, you got Kronos, Uranus.
All right.
Back to the anus, right?
Here we go.
I'm trying to remember the other ones. It's not my goddamn fault that they named the bastard that.
Yes, Gaia.
Gaia's a good one, yeah.
Come on, Nathan, you should know all this. Haven't you played all the God of War games?
I killed all of the gods of war. I killed all of the Greek gods, but I didn't fuck around with many Titans. They don't have many Titans in there. They got Kronos. And then you make him regret existing.
Oh my gosh. But I loved at the end is like Harry's like screwing on the the spear of destiny, basically. He's like, all right, and he's like, he was trying not to touch it the whole time. Like multiple occasions, he was like, I can feel the power on my hip, but I'm keeping my hand away from it. I wonder if he would have touched it, like Ethne would have sensed it or something.
He didn't want to think about it. He didn't want anyone reading his thoughts and noticing it.
Right.
Well, he never did get around to using that in that book, did he?
No,
he took it out, but he didn't actually attack anyone with it.
Did he?
This was like he tied it up on his staff and everything around the time that Marcone went and like three stooges the damn eye and ran the hell away. And he ran after him, and then he ended up at the shores. And then we found out that Marcone is a devious bastard.
Oh my!
That caught me off guard.
Gosh, wasn't that crazy?
Mhm.
Yo, you're just like, yeah, he got his neck snapped, and you're just like,
that's
wow,
how they killed
that
him.
was kind of.
I mean, the fact that he's a devious bastard is not a stretch. But
Yeah. That wasn't
right.
You know,
yeah, but finding out he'd commandeered the coin, that was something else.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, well, and of course, the coin that it was, Thorn Namshill, the sorcerer coin. Of course, he's got to battle Harry at some point, so he's got to have that coin. You know, but.
And we have no idea where any Gopherwood is.
He's going to give it up. Marcone's going to get rehabilitated further. That's too much of a rehab arc for him. He's not going to be a big bad. He's going to like get Harry to help him like lose the coin and like get his soul back and be a good
I don't know.
They give Marcone too many positive qualities that they don't need to give him. Like, oh, no kids. That's the only thing. That's the always thing that they give gangsters. When they want you to think they're really good guys, it's always like they don't hurt kids or they don't deal drugs. Like, I have a rule, no kids, right? That's always the thing. So when they have that thing, that means that the writers want you to sympathize with them to some extent. So that way, in the end, when they're the hero or do something heroic and rehab themselves, you don't feel so weird and conflicted about it.
What I'm hearing Joe say over here is screw the kids. Like,
yeah, if you're a real bad guy, it's got to kill some kids. I do it. Wistful thing. You got some bunch of kids get killed. Absolutely. So yeah. So they get Marcone's not going to be the big bad. Like, I don't think. I mean, I've been wrong before. So.
Well, yeah, I can see him not ending up being the final fight for Harry.
Yeah.
I definitely think that they're going to come back together just like this at some point. And of course, him having all this extra power is going to help him be able to go help Harry with some outsider or something, because, as we know, the fallen can actually hurt them.
That could be. He ends up falling, but he's fighting outsiders right next to Harry, and they hug at the end. And
they hug at the end. No, at the end, they'll be right back in Chicago.
Yeah.
The last scene will be like a throwback to the first.
Or the very last line will be like Harry, and they hug, and then Harry's like, "I'm still going to take you down," and everyone's like, "Looking forward to it."
Exactly.
Or we could get the Casablanca ending. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Oh my gosh!
Spin-off.
No,
I the Odd Couple now.
I was thinking more like Deep Blue Sea at the end, where Thomas Jane and LL Cool J are laying up, and they're like, "Take me back to the ghetto." Oh my gosh! But so now Harry has like all the super weapons. He's got
except for the cup.
True. But he's got the Spear of Destiny. He's now he's got the eye, and everyone.
Oh, they're so pissed about that.
God,
so bad.
And you knew like the White Council was like, you should probably give it to us, young man. He's like, yeah, and Harry's like, yeah, and you should probably go eat shit, So
right, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That to me, that exchange was very cathartic, but it was also a little jarring. With Ramirez. Ramirez, man, like you think that he would understand the nuances of things going on since he's worked directly with Harry. But again, this is one of those things where I think Sarah was on the right track. They're just trying to get rid of all of his allies. It doesn't have to make sense entirely. It's enough to say, I'm part of the White Council. You're against the White Council. I'm against you.
Yeah. Sarah's like, of course I was right.
Yeah, right? But poor Ramirez, I've been so suspicious of him since the beginning. Every book, I'm like, this is the book where you find out he's a bad guy. And then it never happens.
Well, no, I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's an asshole now. Like,
Yeah.
Like he's like
like a needless asshole. It's needless though to me. Like it doesn't. They didn't do enough build up for it, unless you want to count the short story with Molly, but that had absolutely nothing to do with Harry. So that's almost like getting punched in the face when you're on a bus and everything, then going home and beating your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do that. Misplaced anger right there.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to come to. I'm just waiting for Harry to find out why Carlos is crippled. Well,
that's
not
right.
crippled, but
he doesn't know.
Yeah,
Carlos, why you got a limp now?
Yeah.
Inquiring
Yeah,
mind.
but I'm just like Nathan's like, it just came out like too sudden, especially if you're a person who didn't read the side stories. You're probably like, what the hell's his problem?
Yeah, they were bros.
Yeah.
I think some of it always circles back to that we follow Harry. He is our point of view character, and he always undersells the impact that he has on other people and the fear that he can bring out in other people. Like, we see him the way that he sees himself, but everybody on the outside sees him as a really dangerous person. And he does kind of jump into things, and he does have allies who are shifty, and he does work with people, and he is now the Winter Knight. Like, I think there's at least there is a baseline of suspicion that I think a lot of people on the White Council would have, just because of some of the things that he has done. They don't have the context that we have. So I do agree that a lot of the reactions do seem heightened in Battleground. I think my personal opinion is that Butcher is trying to isolate him from the people that he cares about, but I don't think they're totally unfounded if we look outside of the little like bubble into Harry's head that we have.
Yeah. I think at this point, at least for myself, it's like we're so invested in Harry. It's like, sometimes we get blind where we don't think like, okay, if we take a step back and we're out of Harry's head and we're just some like random person on the White Council, and you're like Sarah said, it's like, okay, yeah, we know he's talking to the White Court. We know he's talking to demons. He's best friends with werewolves, and and the Knights of the Cross are always around whenever stuff is going down with Harry. I could see why they'd be suspicious. Even though Harry just seems to save Chicago over and over and over again, but
he's the White Knight, and he soul gazed the Kraken, and the Kraken ran.
Right?
Like it's not just the facts on the ground are Harry's a really scary dude.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not just like someone overreacting. Like, he is legit scary. Like, he scares everyone around him at some point in Battlegrounds. His allies. His allies are all looking at him like, holy crap, when he's like sending Winter after. He's sending Winter out to like save a bunch of kids, because gotta save kids. But they're terrified of him when he's doing it because of the way the mantle makes him.
Yeah. When he jumped off the castle. Yeah. To go save the kids like they were like, people were looking at him because he almost went full feral.
He said they looked at me like I was Darth Vader. I don't know if that was the same scene, but he said it happened in Battlegrounds. So everyone was looking at me like that. Yeah, he doesn't tell Carlos secrets. He uses Carlos. Well, I'm not thinking of Carlos. Is Carlos Ramirez, or am I confusing myself?
Yeah, that's his last name. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if they set it up enough, because it's hard to set up everything because there's so many moving pieces in these books. It's hard. Like, I can only imagine, because I know how hard it is for me with fewer moving parts.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, getting them all to progress at the right pace is really tricky. Because Ramirez only has a handful of scenes, so I don't know. But
another thing I found jarring. Anyone else that listened to the audiobook could probably agree with this, but in Peace Talks, Carlos didn't have an accent. It was so weird.
I caught that. Yes, I'm like, wait, because
who the hell is this guy?
Because the other audiobooks, he had an accent, and all of a sudden, he sounds almost like a soft British guy, and then and then in Battlegrounds he gets his accent back. I'm like, wait, what?
I
Is
think
the same narrator?
Yeah, it's James Marsters. I honestly think that James just forgot. He's got so many voices up in there that he's got to keep track of, and it's been 5 years.
Sometimes when things like that happen, you're like, is this a clue? Like, was somebody else in there?
Is this a doppelganger? What's going on here?
Right?
My narrator made a bunch of my aliens Irish, and I was just like, I'm going with it. You know, they're not human, but they're Irish, so okay.
They're from Space Ireland.
Space Ireland, yeah.
Fun place to be.
Yeah,
the
audiobook
so that's the question.
Yeah, the audiobook for More Than a Vampire just got finished, and I uploaded it, so we should have that here very soon. But yeah, like I just gave I have two. There's two narrators, is a male and female, and I just kind of gave them the main characters. So like they went off and did like their own thing with some of the characters just randomly pop up, and I'm listening to it like, I guess he's Scottish. Like,
hey, that audiobook is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I am a fan of that audiobook. I like those two. I like their work.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll be announcing that pretty soon. Anybody who wants a copy here, I'll send one out to you.
Audio is good with reviewers. A lot of reviewers, a lot of booktubers do a lot more audio, and their audio to be read queue is much shorter. So if you want to get your stuff on BookTube, well, you know how to do that.
Yeah.
Just my experience has been, if you can get an audiobook in someone's ears, it's a much shorter route.
Well, and Sarah, I don't know how much audio you do, Sarah, but I can imagine, you got all these series that you're doing, right? Joe Abercrombie and First Law, and then all this other stuff, and then a self-published author's like, hey, I got a book, and you're like, well, where can I fit it in at? It's a lot easier to be like, oh, I can listen to it on the drive to work, or whatever, and then but you have these things. And
giving audiobooks to Canadians is really hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Canadian codes. If you do Audible in Canada, I can give it to anyone in the US or UK, but I can't give it away to Canada.
Theo I think he was able to get it somehow, like, because he had a problem, and I think you just have, I don't know if you can use a VPN to tell them that you're in America, and then just get it. But he was able to get my More Than a Gunslinger that way.
That's cool.
And I don't know why there's not a, so it's only British and US for promo codes.
If you go through ACX, which is the Amazon Audible thing with the account, they give you a bunch of free codes for US and UK. They're separate.
Yeah.
Make sure you get the right one to the right person. They won't give you Canadian codes or any other market. I don't know why.
Amazon hates Canada. Confirmed.
I remember growing up, and anytime I'd be like at the library or something, you see like how much, because I'm weird. I like statistics and numbers and stuff like that. And I'd always look at like, oh, this is how much this book costs. But then right next to it, at least in the US, it's like US price, Canada price.
Yeah.
And Canada's always like a lot more expensive. I'm like, why are books so expensive in Canada? Is that still the case?
I thought that sentence was going to end when I was a kid, and I hated Canada too. You came right off the end of that sentence. No, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that the U.S. market sets the price, and just our dollar is always weaker than
it's like
yours.
it's like 20%. Yeah,
So,
I mean, I was happy when I went to Toronto. Like,
right? I just got back
everything's
from the US.
20% cheaper.
I was not happy. I was the opposite happy.
Oh my gosh.
But
Oh yeah, Spotify just bought Findaway Voices, which is a Ohio company.
So they bought. I did not hear that.
Yep, they just bought Findaway Voices. Yeah, because I'm friends with Dale Roberts, who's like a big like self-publishing guy, and he's friends with the company. He's like, and he like let me know before they announced it, but like they bought it for like 200 million or some crazy number like that. So I don't know what that entails. I don't know if they're gonna try and outbid Audible and ACX for pricing, but
they're making.
I know that Spotify is one of the platforms that Sanderson dropped Audible for.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's big enough that he can get his own sweetheart deal, though.
Oh yeah. probably.
But what are your guys' speculations for 12 months? Like, what do you think it's like the story's gonna be?
It'll happen 12 months later.
I'm expecting a quieter story. Like, I'm expecting a kind of ghost story kind of approach for the next book, just because it's so big. And as we talked about earlier, this kind of anime-esque escalation can only go so far, I think, before it loses some of its power. And so I think that there needs to be a little bit of a reeling in after Battlegrounds. That might not be true, but it's just my expectation for the next one.
It happened
Harry and
after
Laura
changes.
will set up a wedding registry. I really think that 12 months, like you said, Nathan, I think that is going to be like the pacing of the wedding planning and stuff like that. You're probably right.
Well, you've got the wedding, and then you've got what's his name said he would tell Harry what a Starborn was.
Oh, yeah, within a year's time.
Yeah, give me a year. Give me a year.
Give me a year to make sure everything's cool.
Well,
all that happening, but it could definitely be a story.
I mean, we know that Eldest Gruff is going to be catering, and he's bringing the donuts.
Yes,
that would actually be pretty good. But if Harry doesn't put on that registry like a tablet of resurrection, he's an idiot.
Oh my gosh!
So tacky though, as a wedding present, you resurrect the love of your life.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I think
that's not a McManus approved move.
I'm sure all the tutors did that, sans the whole resurrection thing. They had their mistresses and their political marriages.
Yeah, I think Sarah's right, and Jim tends to do that. Like when he has a crazy book, he'll tend to kind of bring it kind of back down to earth, a little bit, maybe a smaller story, which Jim is great at doing that. Unlike, I mean, if we want to keep crapping on Disney, we can do that. Where they shouldn't have went to Kang the Conqueror, they should have went to Apocalypse and made it an Earth thing. But that's neither here nor there.
The X-Men for that. These guys are supposedly planning like 5-10 plus years in advance, and if that's the case here, I've got very little faith in where things are going.
All I'm saying is I am glad that Jim is in the writers' room, talking with the people about his show. So when it does hit, we'll know he's there.
Just as long as he has veto powers, it's all that matters.
Oh yeah, totally. Because I felt so bad because recently, like usually, Neil Gaiman has the pulse on all of the stuff that's being adapted for him, but he was not given any kind of rights for the Graveyard book, and I'm like, well, that sucks. So
I think you mean that's gonna suck.
Yeah, that's gonna suck. You hope that Jim Butcher is going to be given, like, kind of like with Daniel Abraham and Ty Franck. They were executive producers on The Expanse, I think.
Okay.
So
that's what I've heard, that he was attached at the hip. Yeah, over there.
So let's hope that Jim has the same benefits.
Well, yeah, and he basically said, like, after the debacle on Sci-Fi, he's like, I'm holding the rights to this. Like, he's, I guess, now he's big enough, and hope, it's been what, 15 years since that show, because he was on like book 5 or something.
I haven't watched it, but I'm not even going to bother to because I've heard it's so bad.
At what point does Thomas get revived? 12 months or after? I think.
Yeah, I think they're going to get through the wedding first, probably. I would imagine, if there is a wedding. I'm still hoping there isn't, but Yeah,
I definitely think that they gotta sit Thomas for another book. I think it would be too. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but he's back. We got him right back.
You need the misery to simmer for a while.
We really don't. I feel like he can come back now.
Maybe in a short.
He can come back at any time.
Hey, you know what? They need Thomas's hairdressing abilities for the wedding. Hello, hey,
I like
I'm here
that.
to do your wife's. I'm
I
here
think
to
bringing
do your
Thomas
wife's.
back as a wedding gift, or maybe Laura demands that Thomas be brought back as a wedding gift.
Right?
Because you
Ah.
get married under the Accords, I'm sure there's all kinds of like stuff that both sides can demand.
Well, and also
Exactly.
something that's going to happen to Harry, right? She's going to have some kind of power over him because remember, I guess this is in one of the side stories where we figured out that the green teeth Fae was trying to marry
Right.
Billy.
Yeah.
And if he had, they said in there, like if he had, that would have linked them and she would have had some power over him. So yeah, like Laura's gonna have
Totally true.
Sarah's like, you're damn right. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm thinking, and I also, now maybe this is just wishful thinking, is that the Jim is gonna pick up on Dresden Files. I think he's gonna start speeding these up. Because I think we're going to have 12 months. And I don't think 12 months is going to be like a monster story. So I don't think he's going to want to wait too long to give us another big, battle story.
I mean, that kind of hinges on the belief that when authors don't produce books immediately, it's because they want to withhold them. I don't think anybody's out there being like, yes. Like, I don't think when he had his 5-year break, he was like, they deserve it.
Well, that was
his divorce begs to differ.
I think that was because he didn't want his wife getting any of the royalties. So I think that's, he kind of even stated that, like, not that I was not publishing it before everything was finalized, but I didn't.
Yeah, he was kind of,
which is just terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. I stand corrected. Maybe some people have do go out to intend it to be a punishment, but I'm sure it's very difficult to write books in a series that is so popular and has so many fans, and you don't want to mess up. Like don't.
It really is.
The expectation being a year, I think, is something that we have created and puts a lot of pressure on people for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever going to pull a George R.R. Martin on us, or I was just talking about this guy the other day. What's the guy, the Name of the Wind?
Yeah, Rothfuss.
12. Both of them are 12 years out.
No, but Butcher's got a much more structured writing process, and I knew it. I'm sure that other people knew it before, but when he said, I'm starting a rough draft for the next book and it's going to be done in 18 weeks, I'm like, this guy's got a completely different process than Rothfuss or Martin do. Like, it's on a completely not saying better, but completely different, like, way he writes. He's got to have a plan. He knows he can do this many words a day. Like, he's not going to not be able to write books.
Well, and I interviewed the author of The Sword Defiant like last week, and he was telling me, because he still does, he's like a 50-50 now. He's 50% novels, 50% writes for RPG books and stuff. And he was telling me that when he first got into the RPG business, he was with this company, and this company had him write 70,000 words a month. Like, he was writing 3,000 plus words a day. And I was like, and me and him were talking about it, and I was like, yes, Brandon Sanderson is a machine. I'm not saying he's not. Like, but if you think about it, he gets to write 8 hours a day, and he's disciplined. So he is writing for 8 hours a day. If you're writing like Gareth, if you're writing 3,000 words a day, I mean, you can pump out 4 decent sized books a year. If that's your, if you have all the time in the world to do so.
But the question, I guess, is, of the 3,000 words a day, how much of it is shit? Because only some of it, could be usable. I don't know. I don't know the guy you're talking about, or his rating or whatnot. There could be all golden, but I know that the more you write, the more shit that's going to come out.
Totally. And it's like there's so many factors of how, like you said, look, what are you, how smooth is that draft that you're writing? Like, are you writing 3 sentences and going back and making sure every word
Are you
is
self-editing?
Yes, those 3 sentences is perfect. Are you just like Stephen Kinging it and you're like, I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to write for this many hours and it is what it is and I will go back later and go back through it and see how much I want to keep or not keep. And, personalities like books are infinite. So it's
depends how much craft versus how much art goes into what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a story you want to tell and you just want to sort of tell it in a straightforward way and you know what the story is, you can chunk out, I'm sure like many thousands of words a day and just follow your outline. And that's what Sanderson does. But if you're trying to write, trust me, I've done this. If you're trying, whether you succeed or not, if you're trying to write funny, or you're trying to write clever, or you're trying to write like lyrical prose, you can't grind that out.
Yeah.
No.
Right? It's not like, I can't think of a great analogy, but it's not like just like, it's like a mechanic, right? You want to make an oil change, you can just do an oil change. You're a good mechanic, you can do one after the other. You can just pump them out all day long, right? That's how your writing is, sure. But if you're trying to make like funny stuff and you're trying to make clever twists of phrase, you can't just crank those. Those have to come to you, and you may have days where they don't,
Yeah.
And you're like, well, like today I had one, so.
Yeah, well, and that's what I've always like, would be on Twitter and, in the writing section and people like, oh, someone's like, oh yeah, I just did 5,000 words today. I'm like, you did what? Like, are you lying or what? How did you do? Like the most I've ever written is like a little over 2,000 in a day.
I definitely hit 5,000 really good words in a day, but I can't do that like 2 days in a row.
Every
Or
day.
7 days in a row, or I can't do it 30 days in a row and get a 150,000 word book that's going to be good. It will happen on occasion. I'll hit gold. Stupid work anyway, my YouTube. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I mean, even when I crank down, and I'm like, okay, because like I don't have a lot of time to write, so I write while I'm at work. I'm actually like in between any little second I get, I pop on the Google Docs. And like I was averaging to finish my second book, I averaged 1,000 words a day for like 80 days.
That's
but that's about as fast as I can go, and
Yeah.
But I guess there are, to bring it back to Jim Butcher, there are some things that he can control, right? Like he can decide which book he's writing next.
Yeah.
Like he can decide that after this Dresden book, he will then write another Dresden book instead of going back to a different series. So whether the words come easily or whether it takes them more time, he does have control over those things. So I think you could be right, and that the books are going to come out in a shorter sequence because he's going to make the decision to put.
He's
them out
also, I think he's balancing a little bit because on his website, Chaz, I mean, I know if you've been seeing that, like he's working on a novella too, like The Warrior or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. He's working on that, and of course he's working on the Cinder Spiders, but of course he's written a couple of Dresden books since he released Aeronauts Windless. So I mean, he's definitely committed to Dresden as a priority. It feels like the commenter earlier asking about Aeronauts Windless. It's a really great book, and I highly recommend it. And the new book coming out, I think, is called The Olympian Affair. But it's been like I read Aeronauts Windless before I switched jobs almost 5 years ago. So it was new then. So it's been about 5 years since he wrote and released Aeronauts Windless.
And is that the one that he has a 6-book contract with, or is that the other one? Is that the Cinders?
I think that's the one he has a 6-book contract with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So, and I remember watching Will White talk about, because he wrote The Captain, which is his new series, and then he's just finished the Waybound, and he was like I guess his family all works for him, so he's very structured, and he's like, all right, So I write for 4 hours on Waybound, and then as soon as the alarm goes off, I'm done. I'm over to the other book. So I don't know how structured Jim is, but I mean, putting an 18-week on a Dresden File size book that's probably at least 150,000 words. I mean, that's pretty good.
It's encouraging for sure that he feels like he has enough of a command over it to be able to say, this is how much time it is going to take. And if he doesn't tweet a lot, then
he's got to have a solid outline. If I have if I know what my book's about and it's solid enough, and just sitting down and cranking out the words is not nearly as hard as sitting down to a blank page
and seeing what is going to happen. And
that's a totally different experience. Like, I'm writing right now. I'm going to finish it in like 50 days, 120,000 words, and it will. But because I've been thinking about it for 7 months.
Right.
Like all the details are worked out. I just have to write them, which is hard, but it's not nearly as it sounds like I did it in 2 months, but I really did it in 9.
Right.
So I'm sure that's what's happening with Jim. I mean, he may be sitting down and saying 18 weeks to crank this book out, but he's been I'm sure he's
been thinking about it. Yeah.
Whether he has an outline on paper or just in his head, it's been there.
Well, it's like, I think George R.R. Martin and Stephen King were having a sit down a few years ago and just having a chit chat. And George asked him, he's like, how do you get so many books out? And Stephen King was like, I write 6 pages a day, no matter what. Yeah. He's like, I get my 6 pages and then I'm gone for the day, but I sit until I get 6 pages. And I'm like, that's,
he doesn't have a day job.
Yeah. But it's like
not delivering anyone's mail,
Yeah. Well, kind of like you said, you said you've been thinking about your book for like 7 months, so you're able to kind of power them out. Like the way I would do it is like I sit down, I go deliver mail for 15 minutes. While I'm delivering the mail, I'm thinking about what I want to write. So as soon as I sit down, it's I might only have 2 minutes to sit down and write, but I've been thinking about it for 15, 20 minutes.
Make it happen.
But I think we're coming up here in about 2 hours, guys. And I know, Sarah, you're like an hour and a half ahead of us. So
I am.
Happy Mother's Day. I forgot to say.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day, Sarah.
It was a good end.
Happy Mother's Day. And if any mothers are out there watching it, happy Mother's Day to my wife as well. We already got all her goodies before she left for work. But I just want to thank all of you for coming in and hanging out. Joe, thank you for jumping in here the last few months, and Chaz, Nathan, and Sarah, thank you for the last year.
Of course.
Coming in here and talking about the Dresden Files and Jim Butcher and everything. And where can we find you all, Chaz? Where can they find you if they want to look you up?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at Bookish Chaz on YouTube. I don't have a website, at least not currently, but I'm also on Discord. You can find the links in any of my videos. I'm also on Facebook, so yeah, you can find Bookish Chaz on Facebook, and yep, that's it for me.
Not going to tell us where to find you, Nathan?
The point is, you can't.
You can't. That's what I was going to say. You will never find a warlock.
No, same as Chaz. I am Sarah Reeds on BookTube. Usually, haven't been there for a while right now.
We're waiting with bated breath.
But most of the time. And on Discord, yes. So the same as Chaz. The links are just in the videos if you want to come and chat. I am usually there every day. And if not, all of my friends are really cool. So you can talk to them.
Every time she puts up a video, I get a notification. I'm like, oh, Sarah's got a new video. Got to go watch it.
I've just learned how to use Discord like a month ago. So I haven't got around to getting on everybody's Discord. I'm only 35, but I'm a boomer at heart. I don't know.
There's so many.
He really is. He really is.
It is very difficult. I'm like a baby with Discord. I lose object permanence, so I forget that there's any other Discord because I just can't keep track of any of them. No others exist now.
Joe, you got to hang out on India Chords because he has a lot of authors giving like really good like writing advice to people to connect with. as a writer, you really want to.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to all these ones that people keep mentioning and stuff.
There's
So
a lot of good ones, but that there's a little extra there because you can ask questions about like, how do I format this for draft to digital? And like, you can't just ask that anywhere and get like a good response. So it's an extra useful. Oh, and Sarah, were you done? I'm sorry.
I was done. I am done.
I'm Joe Byrne, JCM. Read Wistful Ascending, which I can't.
there you go.
On camera. It's available anywhere books are sold as long as those places are Amazon. Only Amazon. So, and I have a website, jcmburn.com, and my YouTube channel where you can listen to me pontificate about. I'm an old man yelling at clouds about books. That's my tagline.
I didn't know we
was
were
right
promoting
there, but
books.
it's not.
Yes, Chaz, tell us.
Yeah, so this is my book, Talendor's Gifts. This is my first book, and I've got a new one coming out this year, hopefully. So,
What the hell is on that
I'll just throw
cover
that
there?
What's that?
That's a nice cover.
Yeah, what's on that? What is that? Like a dragon or something?
A
Some
large
kind of
dragon head. Yep.
nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
I went out and got it on Kindle, but I'm going to buy a physical copy here very soon because I love that cover.
Thanks,
That's
man. Yeah, it's an awesome cover. She did a bang up job. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry I
but-
didn't bring my copy of Where Is My Dog that I wrote in grade 3. It's up in my closet. It's illustrated by myself. So
I'm sure, Sarah, you write all kinds of profiles and stuff while you're at work. You know,
yes.
If you want to self-publish that, let me know. I'll hook you up. I know people.
Oh gosh, but yes, again, thank you all for hopping on here, and we're all playing the waiting game now. So 12 months, hopefully within 12 months, right?
We should get our group together like a buddy read chat going on when the next book lands.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
Definitely.
I am down as soon as the next book hits to try it. Like we can try to do the week of or something.
I'm up for that.
I hate
If you
I
are
hate
reading
the way
it
they.
the hour it comes out, then I will buddy read it with you.
Yes.
I
I will be taking that day off work. So
hate
Yes.
the way they try
We're all cutting
to
work for
stop by
Dresden.
it.
Nice.
All right, everybody.